I run my own strategic marketing consultancy called Air Marketing, based in North Yorkshire, and I've been working in marketing for 25 years now, which feels like a humongously long time. And so today we're just going to look at the different elements of a marketing plan. So at the moment, there's only 2 of you on the call. There are some discussion points to go through on this, so it'd be really nice if actually you were quite happy to interact and sort of share your experiences, and then we can maybe sort of provide a bit more support than you'd not maybe normally get out of a webinar. So we're going to look at the key elements of a marketing strategy or plan, how to actually create an effective marketing plan and take that forward, and look a little bit at consistent marketing messaging. And I hope that's what you all think you're getting out of today. And so initially, we're just going to look at, and hopefully you'll interact on this, what is your business? So thinking about this in 3 different ways. So not really specifically what your business is. So what you think you offer your customers, what you'd like to offer your customers, and what your customers actually think you offer, which can all be quite different things. So, so I've got a couple of examples of this. I've been working with a client that does organic fruit and veg deliveries, and they think that they offer their customers really good value organic fruit and veg to the door. What they'd like to offer their customers is something a little bit more premium. They want to, they're looking at repositioning, so they want to be able to offer the freshest, the best, the most organic. They want people to buy into the idea that they're giving lots back, so they're supporting schools and education and things in the community. So that's what they'd really like to offer their customers, is where they're buying just that bit more than a basket of shopping. They're buying into a whole proposition that's about supporting their locality. And what do their customers think they offer? They think they just offer fruit and veg. So the other example of this is my business. So what do I think I offer my customers? I offer them strategic marketing consultancy services. What would I like to offer my customers? I'd probably like to offer them more one-to-one support on an ongoing basis. What do my customers, potential customers, think that I offer? Most people are like, oh, you do social media, because you mentioned the word marketing these days, and that's the instant perception. I don't do social media, by the way. So would any of you like to kind of like just have thoughts and share with the group about what you think you offer your customers, what you'd like to offer your customers, and what your customers actually think that you offer? Stony silence. The lady from Aztec.
I can't really comment muchly on most of this side of stuff, because sales is not my tech. Marketing isn't my area. Okay. I'm just a representative for Aztec, but I can actually just say that for the customer side of things, we offer good service, good quality of what we do.
What do Aztec do? I'm not familiar with the name.
We do precision turned parts, very small miniature, micro miniature parts that go into components for connectors, aerospace, oil and gas.
Oh, wow.
And obviously with the aerospace industry the way it is at the moment, so that's slowed down somewhat. Yeah. So we offer this sort of services to our customers. I mean, we'd obviously like to offer a bit more when they're doing a bit more projects. We would like to help with the technical side a bit more. So it would help us machining it to the degree that they're wanting it to.
Yeah, okay, so kind of like to offer consultancy service on top of the sort of manufacturing side as well.
Yeah.
And so do your customers sort of just pigeonhole you as, oh, they're the people that machine the bits?
Yeah, more or less, yeah. We do get good customer relations. I mean, basically because of the way we are with the communication to the customer of how we are with the progress on the work that we're doing. And if there's issues, we're in contact with them all the time. And the customers seem really happy with what we do. So on my side, I'll get all the feedback on what some of the customers actually say.
Yeah. That's fine. Yasmin?
Hi, yes, sorry.
Would you like to contribute on what you think you offer your customers?
Yeah, that's fine. I work for Grasmere Gingerbread, so we are B2C mainly, although we do about 10% of B2B. I think we offer our customers a very unique experience. There's two major aspects to our business. It's a tourism attraction, and it's also an online retail shop as well. I think what we'd like to offer our customers, we feel like we kind of offer what we can, because we make and supply, this gingerbread that's quite special, quite emotive to many people. It's about developing a more e-commerce based business. And I think, that kind of business, if you don't already walk into it, it does take a lot of time to build up.
Yeah.
And it does take work, and it's not easy at all. It's a very good time to work in online sales, not going to lie, and it has been the backbone of our business, but it is tricky, to get things, right with it, when looking at like larger businesses and how they do it. So
yeah, it's almost like
just like improving the service.
Really. Yeah, and to kind of use the emotional side of that
product.
Yeah, the products, like the Grasmere gingerbread, it's obviously got its own reputation, and it's very well known, but it's about using the sort of the memories that it can conjure up for people, isn't it? Like why.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else want to contribute on what they think their business offers to customers, what they'd like to offer, and what their customers think they offer? We've got stony silence. Okay, so it's about understanding what your customers' perception is of your business as sort of a start point for thinking about your marketing plan, but also to understand what you actually offer them, and then also what you want to offer them. So are there changes that you can make? Is there things that you need to tidy up in your messaging, which we'll come on to a little bit later? Okay, so it's always important to have measures in place. So think about where your business is now, and you'll have internal measures. You might look at turnover, profit, number of customers, number of repeat customers if you're doing B2C online sales, percentage market share, and then think about actually what's the big vision for your business. So what are the aspirations? Some of the businesses that I work with, quite often I get brought into businesses 5 years from when that business owner wants to sell. And so quite often their big vision is to actually be able to sell their business and make money out of it at the end. So what's the business owner's hopes, and by when do they want that achieving? And then break it down to year by year. So what metric are you going to use to measure, but also actually have key performance indicators that you can track, so that you know that you're on route to achieve that big vision. So is anybody at the moment executing a marketing plan where they're actually tracking, on an annual basis, are they achieving targets? Do you have sales targets, or do you have profit targets or customer targets? Anybody?
Yeah, Deborah, I work to yearly customer targets.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't sit with the profit margin. I watch the customers.
Yeah.
And that's really important for my aspect of my job in the business. So I want to see, you know, the database increase by X amount by the end of the year, the social media following to increase. Just all works kind of together in it by itself in that kind of area. That's personally what I do. I set my own targets quite competitively. I just keep pushing on that, and it's quite good because mostly it all grows very naturally. I don't have to buy data or really push for data. Which is quite nice.
So actually having those targets in place keeps you on track with what you are doing, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. It makes me hungry for it more if I complete it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Personal achievement. And it's also good, you can watch, you know, your competitors following, and, you know, what your engagement rate is, you know, from a social media, and, you know, how many press articles you get in a year, or how many, you know, international press writers you receive. You know, it's just about building that. And obviously, you know, depending on the circumstances, your targets may change slightly. But yeah, no, definitely have my own targets. I don't write them on the board though. I'm not like a teacher.
So
anyway.
Some places I've worked in healthcare, which is ridiculously target driven, and we used to have like boards up in the office with, you know, daily target, weekly target, monthly target, and how far you were off everything. Oh my god. Anyway, that didn't suit me much at all. But you know, it's, even if you've just got a mental target of where you want to be, I think having that in your marketing plan, it gives you something to aim for, and then you can structure your activities to achieve those targets. So you're not just putting together a plan that's like, oh yeah, we're going to do 3 posts on Facebook a week, and we're going to put an advert in this magazine. It's like, well, collectively, what is that going to deliver to the business? So it is important to think about actually tying this in really with the overall business objective. So if you can at all get access to the target sales figures, you know, annually, or have a chat with the business owner about what the big vision is, then that will help you create your marketing objectives. I do appreciate it's not always possible in some businesses to do that, but really your marketing plan should be tying into your business plan. So kind of once you've got those targets in place, as part of your marketing plan, it is important to look at elements that are beyond your control that might influence buying decisions. Now, I'm not saying that anybody's marketing plan would have had in it pandemic, because I don't think anybody really saw that coming. But it is worth looking at what is happening in the economy at the moment that might affect buying decisions. You know, certainly for Aztec, as I don't know your name actually, but as the lady sort of alluded to, their business has been affected because the aeroplane industry. Can't
Aerospace, yeah.
Aerospace industry. I'm like,
it's Caroline, by the way.
Caroline, hi. The aerospace industry, you know, has been grounded pretty much. So your business has been affected by coronavirus and by sort of big economic change that's taking place at the moment. Yasmin was saying that they've switched to online, and that's grown significantly. And again, that's as a sort of impact of you know, things beyond our control. It's also important to look at things like the political climate. In some circumstances, if we're in a run-up to an election, that might cause decision paralysis in some businesses. In the run-up to the Brexit decision year before last, I came across a lot of smaller businesses who had sort of who didn't know which way they were going to turn, because they didn't know what the outcome was going to be. So they weren't making those strategic decisions because they didn't have a full picture, and they didn't feel confident about making that decision going forward. It's also important to look at the pace of change. You know, are there disruptors on the horizon for your industry? If you think about, I mean, this is a bit of a wild example, but if you think about people like Elon Musk kind of rebuilding everything from the bottom up. Is there someone like that? Let's not get carried away, but is there someone like that in your industry that may be snapping at the heels of the industry and is about to make some changes? Or is there changes occurring with the way that consumers are buying? So there has been a massive switch to online this year. Is that going to continue, or are people going to be happy to go back into shops, or so to actually do face-to-face purchasing? Also consider how your marketing campaign should integrate across different channels. We'll come on to a little bit more about that going forward. So really within your plan, look at the political climate, the economic climate, the social changes that are taking place, and technological changes that might be on the horizon that might affect your industry. And you might think, oh my God, that's massive, where do I start? It's not as huge as you think, and part of it's just about having an awareness of current affairs that's going on generally and then specifically within your industry. Does anybody kind of get involved with anything like that at the moment as part of their marketing planning? I'm guessing that's a no. Oh no, I never do that. So we're just going to look at this. So marketing itself, according to the Chartered Institute of Marketing, is the management process responsible for identifying, anticipating and satisfying customer requirements profitably, which is a bit of a mouthful really. So I think that the sort of passage underneath, where it's about understanding your customer so that you can anticipate and deliver a product or service that satisfies their requirement profitably, translates that sort of very proper interpretation by the CIM. And the key things in that passage are about understanding your customer and anticipation and delivery of the product or service. And then it's about it being profitable. So even if you are working for a charity, you do need to have some profit, although you don't call it profit, so that A, you can keep the charity going, but B, that you can make investments and donations as you go forward. So none of us really are in business just to turn money over. It's all about having something at the end of it, either profit for yourselves, profit for the business, or profit that you can give away. And you can only really do that by understanding who your customer is, so that you can provide them with exactly what they want and almost anticipate before they realise it that they need this new thing. So as part of any marketing planning process, it's really important to know who your audience is. Have any of you been through this sort of process where you have identified maybe 3 or 4 groups of target audiences? No. Okay. So how do you know who your customers are then? Yasmin, have you got any ideas who your customers are?
Yeah, sorry, I said yes.
Oh, sorry.
I don't know, I just used the right hand vote thing.
Oh, right, I can't see the vote.
Yes, no, go slow. Yes, I just put yes. Yeah, I do sit and do this quite often. I put them, I don't do them in lists, I kind of do them in bubbles. And we've got different groups of customers, definitely. And we've got different customers that purchase online, that different customers that come and visit us.
Right, yeah.
So we have completely different markets and we're trying to actually merge them. But yeah, no, like one of our major customer bases, especially for Facebook, is like women and men from 40 to 60 who are avid about the lakes. And like they come maybe 30 actually, yeah, 30 to 60 I'd say, so that's kind of quite a wide age range, but they just always come and visit the shop. And then maybe more online, it's like quite unique, it's like 50-year-old to 60, like grandma and grandpa kind of thing. Then we've got customers who just always ring an order, they don't use the telephone. And then we've got customers that are pressed brides and grooms, because we do wedding service. So quite a different range of different ages. And then we've got people who are really young, like they've come on their school trips at like 10, 11, 12, 13 on their geography field trips, and then they've gone home and gone to their parents, oh, I bought you, this gingerbread from the Lake District, I got soaked in my geography field trip. And then that's led to them then purchasing online. So everyone's customer journey is quite unique within that target customer base, I guess.
So this is quite important, and hopefully some of the others on the call will either be doing this or might do this when they go away from this webinar. But actually, the more you know about the customers, the more you can direct them on the journey that you want them to go. So if you've got kids coming in from a geography field trip and you know that they're buying gifts for parents, like, oh, I bought this when I was drenched in Grasmere, it might be that you have something that goes with the gingerbread, like a little card or something, that they can give to their parents to sort of enhance that experience that the parent gets as a result of sending the kid on the trip. So there's all sorts of reasons to go through this, and a lot of people kind of stop at whether they're male or female and what sort of age they are, and a bit about lifestyle and whatnot. I think it's quite important to really get into who those people really are. So what other brands do they buy? What sort of behaviour do they have? Are they busy people? Are they loyal people? Do they buy on need or do they buy on want? When they're making that purchase from yourself, what are they actually after? So if they're buying from an online retail business, is it because it's easy to buy online? Is it because it conjures up some memories? If they're buying parts for the aerospace industry, then what are their goals when purchasing? So think about their role within the decision-making unit. Are they buying under instruction from someone else? Are they wanting to get the best price? Are they wanting the best customer service? So think about all of these things, because then you can start and build this real picture and tap into it with your marketing. Understand what their objections might be to purchasing. It might be that they personally are too busy, or they might not be in the right frame of mind. It might be a decision that they need to consider for a long period. People often say that their objection to purchasing is price. In reality, it usually isn't. Although there are tranches of people that only buy a discount. And I did a project for a mail order business that sells lingerie, and there was a tranche of customers on there that only buy on a discount, but by identifying who those customers were, actually we put them all into a Facebook group to get rid of end of lines clearance. We would only send them e-newsletters when there was a sale on, that sort of thing. So you start and get really targeted with your marketing. Understand what their pain points are. So what's going to really annoy them about your business? If they're booking a holiday, is it going to be something about the week that they always have off not being available? Is that going to send them somewhere else? Is it about not being able to book online? My partner's dead weird. Wouldn't say that really to his face, but he won't buy stuff online unless he can use PayPal, because he just can't be bothered to go find a card. So that's his pain point with a lot of purchasing of bits and pieces. If he can't do it on PayPal, he's not interested. He'll just go somewhere else and buy it, or he'll get me to do it. So also think about actually what's their key motivations to buy from your business. So start and understand what makes you different. Think about what devices they might be using to make the purchase or to find out about you. Are they looking on a phone? If you have clients in the aerospace industry who are maybe out in the field wanting specific parts, are they accessing that on a tablet or are they accessing it on a phone? Is the information that they can receive on their phone or tablet, is that actually digestible? Does it give them enough information? Can they download something? You know, it's all about actually understanding that person really well. And then finally, this is the bit that everybody thinks that is marketing. What media are they consuming? So are they on social media? Do they listen to the radio? Do they listen to the radio in their van? Do they read magazines? Do they read trade publications? Do they consume that online? Are they reading newspapers? There's a whole range of things that you should be able to find out from them to help you direct actually what promotional channels you use to reach these people. But only by understanding your clients fully can you get down into the nitty-gritty that's really going to drive them through your business properly. Does that make sense to everybody? I can't see anyone, so I'm going to assume you're nodding unless you say no.
Yes, that makes sense.
Good, yay!
Yeah, no, that does. Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. One of our big factors is about environment.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
In like the friendly, but you know, for how eco-friendly it is, and what we do for the charity, and you know, the wider community.
Yeah,
that's such a big factor for our customers.
Yeah,
and I think it's quite a strong purchasing power now.
Yeah,
people, I think, you know, one of the adverts for Co-op, just as an example, was this year for Easter. They completely changed it and they went, well, we're not going to promote our Easter eggs. It was like a radio ad or something.
Yeah, I heard this. It was really good, wasn't it?
It was really good, and they went, we've removed all your plastic. And it makes you think, and it's like, oh wow, that's quite a bold statement. You should only really make that statement if you know it's definitely true.
Yeah.
And I think that was quite a clever marketing tactic right there.
Yeah,
What kind of eggs we have, it was, we've removed the plastic, and there's so many people, and it's so important. But I think it's quite a strong purchasing power now.
Absolutely, yeah. And so I'm on with a project at the moment for an engineering company that supplies stuff into the water industry, and was talking to them about their customers. Last week we're doing like this profiling exercise, and they started talking about concrete, and how actually one of the influences in the decision making was whether they were using concrete in sewage treatment works or not. And I was like, well, do you use concrete? And they were like, well, no, because it's got negative environmental sort of connotations. And I was like, right, do you actually mention that anywhere? And they were like, oh no, we don't do that. Like, if that's a major driver for these people, then that needs to be part of your messaging. So actually going through this exercise, you know, can pull out some really key elements. Yeah. So, but you put your gingerbread into paper bags, don't you? I'm trying to remember last time I went in there.
Yeah, I know. It's very nice, the paper, but it's always been done with a rubber band, which is fully recyclable, decompostable rubber band.
Yeah.
But the issue we have is that it's tradition. But people will open the gingerbread straight away outside the shop from next week, which is so close now. And then they'll accidentally drop their rubber band. And we'll constantly have to monitor that, because that is not good for the brand. No. It doesn't look good at all. And there's quite a few people that have passed comment on it before. So it's really like wary, you know, it can backfire on you pretty quick.
Yeah.
But I thought the Co-op thing was very clever.
Yeah, I did as
completely different to M&S's approach this year.
Yeah. Well, and then there was like a big Easter egg shortage. So, you know, something obviously worked, didn't it? Okay, so kind of moving on from who your target audience is, once you know who they are, you can start and look at who's your competition. And the very start bit of this is to try and work out what sector you're in. So the example I like to use for this is like a cinema. So is a cinema, is there competition, other cinemas, or is it other businesses in the entertainment industry? And you really need to know what sector you're in before you kind of go through this. But when you think about your competition, it's really about understanding who else is trying to get money from your customers or clients. So it might be that it's someone that's offering more or less the same product within whatever sector you define yourself as being as, or it might be someone that's within a different sector offering the same sort of product. Or it could be that's someone that's offering a completely different product that's in the same sector, or completely out of that sector and offering a completely different product. So if someone is trying to make a choice between, I don't know, booking a holiday or buying a sofa, actually buying a sofa is competition to booking a holiday, because it's taking the same disposable income. If you're running a cafe, it might be that there's other cafes in the area, but you might have amazing coffee, different sector, same product. Could be a someone that's selling takeaway coffee, same sector, different product. Could be a cafe that's selling really amazing herbal teas, and different sector, different product would be someone that doesn't want a hot drink. They don't want a takeaway, and they're going to spend their money on Grasmere gingerbread or whatever. They're just after an eating and drinking experience instead. So really think a sort of an eating experience instead of drinking experience, sorry. So really think about where people could spend their money instead of with your business. Does that make sense? I'm trying to think about it from sort of the engineering point of view on this. So there will be options, you know, could they have parts refurbished instead of made specifically? Could they buy an import, or is there an alternative solution where they go, actually we're going to redo this completely ground up, or are they going to go 3D printing or something like that instead? So it works across B2B and B2C, but really get into who your competition are and who else is after that client's money, because it's going to help you differentiate yourselves when you think about actually why are we better, why are we the best option out of all of these different things, rather than just looking at people that offer the same as you. Because then you get into, oh well, we don't have any competition. Well, you do, because someone else will be after that cash. Does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense to me.
Good. Yeah. Good. I have to say, Rebecca and Russell are very quiet on this. Do feel free to join in. I'm just not picking on you because you were a little bit late to the party.
Yes, sorry about that, Deb. Apologies.
That's fine. I don't mind. I've just noticed your name's popped up on the screen. So I'll start bringing you into it now. Okay, so kind of look at who your competition are, and then think about actually how you're going to differentiate yourself. Think about what your USP is, and also think about actually what are you known for. So I have picked some random examples on here. So think about actually thinking about these examples, but also think about your own brand. And it's about understanding what you want your customers to feel, you know, like emotionally when they think about your business. So obviously with the tick, you know, or the Nike swoosh, I think they call it, don't they? You know, we don't even need the word Nike on there anymore. Everybody knows that that's Nike, and everybody knows it's all about like accessibility to sports and all that sort of stuff. Jogging pals, I'm hoping some of you have heard of Jogging Pals, because if you're Lake District based, you might have done. So which is a running group. I think they're Kendal based, aren't they? And informal running group to get people running and sort of outside adventure running and that sort of thing. The Lake District National Park, obviously, you know, known for well, mountains, lakes, etc. You know, what else do you need to say about the Lake District National Park? And then moving on to sort of bigger brands, you know, Ben and Jerry's, it's like, oh yeah, it's comfort ice cream, it's amazing flavors, it kind of makes you feel happy when you're eating it, it's a bit of a treat, that sort of thing. And IKEA, you know, best known for flat pack furniture. I don't know, there's a bit of frustration when I think about IKEA, actually. I think it's about building stuff yourself, isn't it? Maybe I'm a bit beyond that that sort of like flat packness in my life now. I don't know, when I was in my 20s, it was like the place to go and buy bits and bobs, wasn't it? I don't know whether I can cope with the stress of putting something together anymore. I am feeling frustrated just thinking about IKEA and the whole shopping experience, actually, but some people buy into that. So think about actually what's your brand, what emotion, like I'm saying IKEA is making me feel a little bit frustrated. What's your brand known for? What emotion does it make people feel? And again, you can still do this from a business to business point of view, because what you're probably wanting to project through your brand for business to business is that actually you're taking away someone's problem. You know, so if they need a part for something, or they've got a leak on a utility, a water utility station, you know, actually that's a massive problem, and your business wants to be right top of mind. They can fix it. You know, they're going to take my problem away. They're going to get rid of all of my stress. Yeah, and there's bits of pieces, you know, there's bits and pieces on this where you can align yourself with other brands, so you can borrow brand equity from other brands. So it might be that, and I don't know whether you do actually, Grasmere Gingerbread, you might align yourself with the Lake District National Park and borrow a little bit of brand equity from them. Do you do that at all, Yasmin?
Cumbria Tourism.
Cumbria Tourism, right, okay, yeah. So,
as an attraction on that side, definitely borrow some branding from, you know, it works both ways really.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes when you're at food festivals or business shows, you know, sometimes you should stand next to your competitor, you know, to also take some of that branding.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no harm in that. No. But it might be that if you're in business to business, it might be that you belong to a trade association. For me, it's about I borrow brand equity from the Chartered Institute of Marketing. You know, they elected me to fellow status. To me, that's a big thing. I borrow brand equity from that because it makes me stand out a little bit more. It sort of provides a bit of reassurance to my clients that I actually know what I'm talking about. So think about if there are other brands that you can align yourself with, that you can borrow brand equity from, but also think about actually what does your brand project to your clients, and are there any changes you need to make to project something a little bit different? Does that make sense? Rebecca, what industry are you in, or what business are you from?
Managed IT services. So we're a Carlisle-based company providing managed IT support and services to Cumbria, Southwest Scotland and Northumberland. So yeah, we're just looking to increase kind of brand awareness, and yeah.
Okay. And so do you borrow brand equity from the brands that you supply? So I guess, are you like Sage and Office 365 and stuff like that?
Yes, yeah, we do. So we do have like their logos, etc., on our websites, and we're a partner with, you know, we do link up with them. So for example, Indelible Data, who are a Cyber Essentials certification board, we do link up with people like Dell and other companies.
Yeah. Okay, so that all helps you to differentiate from your competitors, but also provides reassurance. So it's that sort of emotion of confidence that you're trying to project, like, we know what we're doing, we're affiliated with these people.
Yeah, it's quite difficult though, because most of our competitors are also affiliated. So
yeah,
and with similar, or if not even sometimes the same, you know, so a large company like Dell supplying hardware, then obviously most of other IT managed providers are also linked with either HP or Dell, or so it is very difficult to kind of stand out from the crowd.
It is. So with that, I would say look at your brand and actually what your brand projects. So understand who your target audience is, what problem you're solving from them, and kind of look at the emotional and rational reasons that they would buy from you. So what does your brand give them? Yeah. Okay, so this is like a massive whistle-stop tour through how to write a marketing plan. I'm like, God, we're not going fast enough now. Okay, so I like this a lot. So Seth Godin's like some advertising guru, speaks a lot at conferences and stuff like this. But I think this is absolutely true, especially now, especially these days. So people do not buy goods and services. They buy relations, stories, and magic. And I think that sums it up really nicely when you start and think about messaging. People don't buy a bit for an aeroplane. They buy a solution to a massive problem they've got going on. They don't buy a new computer. They do buy a new computer, but they're getting rid of whatever the problem was with their old one. They don't buy Sage accounting systems. They buy into the promise of whatever Sage solves within your business. I have no idea. But you know, it's about actually selling the story and the magic. It's not about just selling the computer itself. It's about actually that is going to get rid of the problem of your old computer that's going so slow. I'm going like this from one to another. I've got my old computer over there. My new one sat in front of me. My old one, I didn't realise it was so slow until I plugged my new one in. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's about selling actually the dream of what that is going to achieve when that person makes that purchase. Yeah. You know, and with the Grasmere gingerbread, it's about the story behind the Grasmere gingerbread, which these guys do already. But when people eat that gingerbread, you want to have that sort of emotion and story going on, you know, like that moment of truth can be massive if you've got your stories and magic. Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't agree more with you, Deborah, on this saying. Like, we love this saying, actually.
Yeah.
And it's so true, but I'm quite lucky that I have that magical story and that very emotive product. So I haven't had to build that or make it up.
Yeah.
Kind of sits by itself. But we've built all our customer base, like mostly this year, through the power of e-newsletters.
Yeah.
One of our marketing tactics, and they're all stories.
Yeah.
And they all we got like a 20% response rate, like personal response rate. But again, it's like the John Lewis Christmas ads.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know, it's emotive. You know, they stick with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, and even
the Captain Tom adverts and things like that.
Yeah. Even the Amazon Christmas ad this year. You know, I try not to buy from Amazon. Or even the Amazon Christmas ad this year with that guy buying the torch for the ballerina who couldn't go to the, you know, it was a story, the whole thing. It was like selling the magic and the dream. And you've really got to kind of start and think about what is the problem that your business is solving, because people are not just buying that part, they're buying a solution to something else. Yeah. We've kind of discussed this, but you might need a different message for different customers. So I was saying about the people that would only buy on sale from the lingerie company. So that was a different message to what we were saying to other customers. And there might be an overarching message for the whole business, but then segment that message out so that you're tapping into the motivations and behaviours of your different customer types. And it might be that you have a different message at different stages of their relationship with you as well. So you might have adverts to recruit new customers that are saying something a little bit different to the customers that are so loyal that they recommend you without even thinking about it. And so just think about actually that customer journey, and do you need to tweak your message on the way through as well? So coming on to sort of the nuts and bolts in the last 15 minutes of how to pull this in together. So think about, in terms of acquiring new customers, understand how your customers find you currently. Think about what you know about your customers. So you've done that targeting exercise. I can't sort of emphasize enough how much time you should put into understanding who your target audience is. Now you know something about them. What's in that information that can help you identify new ways to reach them? What's the message that they're going to be motivated by? And and when do they want to hear from you? You know, what's their decision making timeline? So with the engineering parts, it might be that you bid for work and you run a framework, but is there some way of maintaining communications with that organisation or person that's not necessarily to sell something, but just to keep you top of mind? So understand actually how they buy as well, in terms of, you know, are you bidding for work? Are you selling something that's a sort of non-conscious purchase, you know, or is it something that they buy in an emergency and they need it like that? So understand their decision-making timeline as well. And then start and look about how you're going to reach them. So there's sort of all the sort of obvious traditional channels to communicate with buyers and consumers. You know, it might be that you do advertising, and that might be sort of brand ads, or it might be selling off the page. Think about PR opportunities, direct mail, posters, TV, radio, exhibitions, events, you know, the list goes on. And then you can overlay this with digital activities. So think about, are your customers buying online? And it's sort of easy to go, well, actually everybody's buying online, but you know, there's still a segment of people that don't buy online. You know, like Yasmin was saying, they've got customers that still ring up. Think about whether your website's actually projecting everything that you now understand about your brand and what your customers are wanting. Understand what your SEO terms should be. Think about whether your customers are using social media and which social medias they're using. So it's not always just the big four of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and LinkedIn. You know, is there a niche media that you should be using? I'm trying to think of one. So I was working with a company that does yarns, you know, knitting yarns and stuff. Turns out there's a knitting social media called Ravelry, which I'd never heard of, but we kind of got to this by understanding who the customers were. And so it was right for them to be present on Ravelry over and above kind of what they were doing on Instagram and Facebook. If you're in the sort of that sporting arena, like I was showing that badge of jogging pals, it might be that they're on Strava, which is all about connecting with people who are active, really. So don't just think about the big four, think about, is there a niche for my business that I should be in? It might be that you do pay-per-click advertising or online brand adverts or e-shots. There's a whole range of digital activities that you can factor in once you understand which ones your customers are using. Okay, and then we're into customer retention. So think about whether you have an actual retention plan or whether it's just by luck that people come back to you. By the sounds of it, Yasmin's doing quite a bit to bring people back, sending out those e-newsletters. So are you looking at selling something different or increasing frequency of purchase? Are you wanting sort of repeat bookings? And sort of the retention plan is quite important because it allows you to plan your income from existing customers. So it's almost like you can predict what your sales are going to be based on your existing customers, and actually new customers are kind of bonus money coming in. So think about actually, how are you communicating with your existing customers? Have you got them in a group on a social platform? I was chatting with someone the other week who does well, they're like baby clothes, but she does them for the adults as well, so you can match your child's outfit to the mother. And she's got a group on Facebook of about 8,000 people that are existing customers who are massive advocates for what she does. And she was saying that if she wants to test some new fabric or a new design, she can put a sample of the fabric in there. You know, would this fabric be of interest? And she can always almost guarantee how many orders she'll get from existing customers before it launches by the level of interest that comes through from that group. So think about your retention marketing. Are you staying in touch with your customers? Do you have that sort of community tribe feel? And how are you staying in touch with them? Are you staying in touch with them through channels that they use or ones that are convenient for you? Yeah. And actually, you know, think about using your customers as well. So ask them for feedback. Lots of people kind of forget that you can actually ask your customers for feedback. So someone said to me something the other day about, oh, what do you think about this? I was like, have you actually asked your customers? Just ask them, you know, what do they want? I can't predict what's in someone else's head. Are there improvements that your customers can suggest to improve the experience that they have with you or your business? If you're looking to develop that product or service, can you ask them about it? You know, they're a great indicator of actually what will sell and what won't, because they are already involved with your business. And obviously, ask your customers for recommendations, because testimonials are part of that magic and story that will really help sell your products going forward. Okay, and then at the end of your marketing plan, think about actually those targets that you set right at the beginning, monitoring and evaluating those going forward. So use the marketing activities that you identify will deliver the results. Really concentrate your efforts. Consider the timing of the activity. So when do you want the business to come in? So it might be that, I don't know, you might release something on a social channel, get loads and loads of feedback, but you set it off on Thursday before Easter. Nobody was there to manage the inquiries that were coming in over the 4-day bank holiday. And then you've kind of, that business has almost fallen away because you weren't quick enough to respond. When I was working in healthcare, we got a piece on, I think it was Lorraine. It was either Lorraine or Good Morning Britain. Anyway, one or the other. And actually we had so many orders come in as a result of that piece that had been on national TV, that we couldn't fulfill all the orders within our normal sort of 48-hour time frame, and we were having to go back to customers saying, look, it's going to be like 4 weeks. So almost we'd oversold and we under-delivered because we'd not really thought it was going to take off that well. So do consider how you're going to manage those orders and inquiries that come in, and the timing of releasing activities. So when do you want the business to come through? And marketing's always about test and measure. So do try and track back what was the source of that inquiry. Should we be putting more money into pay-per-click? Should we be concentrating more on SEO? What's key? What's driving our business forward? So do test and measure everything so that you can feed it back round this kind of marketing circle. You know, you've got your objectives, you've got your target market, you've sorted out your messaging, you've looked at your channels, you've got your timing, and all the time you should be evaluating. So you're going round this circle all the time. Your marketing plan shouldn't be static. It shouldn't be like, all right, I've done that, it's the end, I'll do that at the end of the year, that'll plan out next year, fine, put it in a drawer, leave it. You've got to be looking all the time. Stuff changes, stuff beyond your control changes. And will impact on actually how people are buying from you. So all the time consider evaluating, are you on track to achieve those objectives? Are your target market reacting in the way that you thought they were going to? Is there another channel become available? You know, people are talking about Clubhouse at the moment, new social media. You know, should that be part of your marketing mix? Consider the timing of things as well, but all the time evaluate and then feed back in. Okay, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, just a quick one, Deborah. What is Clubhouse? Can we just, I feel like I've missed something really important.
Clubhouse is a newish, I think it's been around about a year, social media platform, and it's it's all like within rooms. You can only access it on an Apple device. You need to be invited to join it at the moment, and currently I'm recommending it to some of my business to business clients. So I've been working with a firm of exclusive architects in London. I think it would be right for them, and with someone who does sort of motivational speaking. I think it's probably right for her. And basically it's a an oral social media, so everything's spoken word. You can join into a room and, you know, listen to someone talking about something and promoting their business, you know, in inverted commas. And it's you know, it's moving people away from the written word of like Facebook and away from the imagery of Instagram, actually into just listening to stuff instead. But it is just like an emerging social media. So there's lots of really early adopters on there at the moment. So if you're after high net worth individuals who are, you know, technologically advanced, or business people that haven't got hardly any time, who are going to be listening to, you know, it's almost replacing a podcast. Do you know what I mean? It's like an interactive.
Just on Apple now, looking at it. So
yeah,
I get about a podcast thing. It looks like everyone just talks and you just listen. Yeah. So, but you can interact on Clubhouse and ask questions. It's interesting. I don't know whether it'll end up being mass market or not. And like I say, at the moment, you need an invite to get on there. So it's very sort of exclusive. And it's only available on Apple devices as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it rolls out. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone got any other questions?
Great, thanks for that, Deborah. That was really very interesting. It had me hooked anyhow.